Okay, guys, for those of you that weren't in class today, or for those of you that need just an extra little refresher, I'm going to show you what to do here. You're going to get into, and it's a designer dot Gravit, here it came up, .io. And that takes you into Gravit. Now, if you haven't signed up yet, it's going to give you the option to sign up. And so you're going to use your Google account to sign up. So use that to sign up with. I've already signed up. I've already got an account. So it's given me this. Now, if you started one today, it's going to say Open Recent. You can go to Open Recent and find what you've already created. If not, that's fine. Just go to make sure it's a new design. And remember, I said to change the PX right here to IN, to inches. Because remember, we don't know what pixels looks like. I can tell you there's 72 pixels per inch, but that's itty bitty. So I want you to change that to inch. And I want you to put 10 inches by 10 inches. Because remember, you're going to do a radial design. Make sure you do that worksheet that's in Google Classroom too on color schemes, because you got to choose a color scheme for your assignment. So you're going to click Create. And now here is your canvas. So you're going to make a radial design or like a kaleidoscope. I'm going to show you some examples. I'm going to place some examples in Google Classroom for you as well to look at. But you're going to make it out of shapes and lines and any other kind of designs you want to create. Right now, I'm just going to mess with shapes. I'm going to show you where the shapes are. So if you click up here, this is where your shapes are. So you're going to click, and then you could choose some shapes. And what's really cool about this program is as I hover over that, it kind of shows me how to do it. So use this tool too if you need to. Use that, how it shows you how to do it. But I'm going to click on ellipse. And then when I click on it, then I'm going to click and I'm going to drag, and it's going to make a circle for me. Okay, now I want to change the color of that. So now, I'm sorry, I've got to get rid of my little picture unless it lets me move it. I don't know, it's not going to let me. Yeah, I got to erase, I got to take off my picture. This program won't let me move it. Yep, so I got to take it off. So now you can't see me anymore, I'm sorry. So now I want to fill this with a different color. So I'm going to come right here where it says fills, and I'm going to click on this circle, and then it's going to bring up this, which will let me change colors. I can choose one of these colors. I can click on one of those and it'll change. Or I can play with this slider here and see how in this rectangle right here it changes as I move this slider. So I can choose, I can play with that, and I can get different values of those colors. So I can choose any of this. So I got to click inside here. When I click inside there, then it'll change to that color. So that's how you change your colors. Now, another thing I can do is I can duplicate this shape. Now, in order to duplicate it, I've got to hold on my keyboard. I'm going to hold the Alt key. While I'm pressing down the Alt key, I'm going to use one finger and click on that shape. And then I'm going to use another finger to grab it. So I'm clicking and dragging. And that duplicates it. So it duplicates that shape. Now you see how these red lines are showing up? Those red lines are going to help you line that up. Because I'm making a radial design, that means everything that's in this corner is going to be in this corner. Everything that's in that corner is going to be in this corner and this corner. So it's symmetrical in a circular fashion all the way around. Okay, that's what radial means. And you'll learn that because you're going to look it up, because that's on that worksheet. So I want to make sure you do that worksheet. So now I'm going to do this again. I'm going to hold the Alt key. You know what? I'm going to show you how an easier way to do this, a quicker way to do this, is I can group these two. So I'm going to group these two and then duplicate them. So if I can click on that one, I'm going to hold the Shift key on my keyboard and come over here and click on that one. And now both of those are together, and I want to group those so they'll stay together. So I'm going to come up over here to the word modify. It's up here. I'm going to click on modify. I'm going to go down to group selection, and that groups the two of them. So now the two of them are grouped. So now if I click on the Alt key and click on them, click and drag, and I've got a duplicate there. Now I can group all of them. So I can select all of them. So see how I'm scrolling over all of them. And I can do the same thing, modify, group selection. And then I can duplicate that. So I'm going to Alt. And now see I've duplicated all four of them. So then I'm going to take and make it a smaller group. So I'm going to see how I'm pulling down on a corner. So this is kind of cool. I can do that. Ooh, now watch. I'm going to duplicate those again. So I'm going to click, duplicate those, and this time I'm going to rotate. Now to rotate, if I come, all right, so it's telling me to save. So every now and then you want to save. You want to save your work so you don't lose it, because you know how the internet is. Now right here where it says untitled, you want to give it a title. I think I've already titled one radial, so I'm going to call it radial. I'm going to call this one radial 2 and hit save. Because we have the free version, things don't work as well as if you, since you're not paying for it. So we have to we're going to suffer through all this other stuff. So anyway, I want to show you how to rotate. So I've selected these four right here. And if I come just on the outside, beyond on a corner, you're going to see those arrows. It's going to change to 2 arrows with a curve. Now when I click, now I can rotate. So that allows me to rotate. So I'm going to rotate and I'm going to move. And I don't like where it's lined up, so I'm going to kind of play with it, try to get the line up just right. Doesn't quite want to line up where I want it to. There. So now I've got this going on. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now the problem is if I want to change the color, let's see, I'm going to come over here and try to change that color. It's not going to let me change the color because it's a group. So if I want to change their colors, I'm going to have to ungroup them because it's not going to let me change. See, it doesn't even give me that. It will let me do an effect, but it's not going to let me change the color. It does have a color adjust. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see what I can't do. Maybe I can change. Oh, I can change that way. It's let me do 2 at a time, but that's okay. Now I'm going to come to these 2 and do the same thing. So that was color adjust, and then I played with this scroll bar right here. Now I'm going to try to get it the same color as the other 2. So I'm just scrolling until I get that right color. Cool. Oops, I didn't want that. I don't know how that happened. Color adjust. I think it was about, I'm moving the wrong ones. That's funny. The colors are changing, kind of not what I want them to. So another thing I could have done is ungroup them. So if I got them, so these are all grouped, I come up here to modify. I can ungroup them. So I'll ungroup them. Now they're grouped in 2, so I want to ungroup them again so they're individually. So I'm going to ungroup those. So now they're individual. So let me do the same thing here. Modify, ungroup them. So now they're not grouped anymore. They're all by themselves. So now I can come here and look at the color, and I can change that color. And let's say I want to change it to, let's change it to red right now. And I'm going to change that one to red. So I'm using one of these little square colors. Change that one. Now you're going to, when you make your final one, you're going to make yours in a color scheme. So you have to know what color schemes are. Okay, so I'm just showing you basic little things like that. Now I want to play with the shape. I'm going to make another shape for you. I'm going to come down here to the polygon. I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to put it right here. No, I didn't quite move where I wanted it to. I wanted to come right here. And I'm going to play, now if you use the arrow keys on your keyboard, while it's selected, you can move it just an itty bitty bit. Sometimes it's easier to use those arrows on your keyboard to move it up, down, or left, right. Just an itty bitty bit. It's easier sometimes than trying to do it with your fingers on your scroller there. So let's see, I want to change that color. I don't like that color. I want to make it a different color. Let's make it this color right there. Okay, so now what's cool about this is, you see that the black arrow is your pointer. They call it a pointer tool. I'll call it a move tool because it allows you to move. Now, if I click and hold right there, or click on that, and I come down here where it says sub-select, now what that does is now it'll let me move these anchor points. So if I click on these anchor points, and now see, I clicked on that one, so it's selecting all of these right here, all at the same time. So if I click on that one right there, and I pull in, watch what it does. It pulls all of them in that are right there. And I think that's kind of cool. Okay, I have a lot more to learn. I'm learning this program just like you are. So I'm learning it and I'm teaching it to you because I know Adobe Illustrator, but since we don't have it yet, we're using this. So as I learn stuff, I'll be showing it to you and teaching you how to do the stuff. But that was kind of cool. Now I want to show you where some effects are. So if I click on that shape, I got to make sure I'm back up on the pointer because I want to select the shape. And then I'm going to come over here where effects are. Oh, I got to scroll that up. See where it says effects? Now under effects, you've got a blur tool. You've got a color adjust, a drop shadow, and an inner shadow. And then there's a few more things. Oh, this just lets you select them. So I want to click on drop shadow. So here's drop shadow. Now I'm going to click right there where it says color. I can make my drop shadow any color, but I want to make sure that it's black. And I want that opacity to be full, 100%, so you can see it real good. But now I'm going to change the pixels of it. I'm going to change it to 30 so you can really see it really good. So I'm going to click 30 right there and hit enter. And then you see that it gives it that drop shadow. You see it makes it look like it's coming off the page. So I think that's cool. So, and another thing I want to show you is if I want to make the whole background, my canvas, a different color, what I'm going to have to do is come up here to the rectangle tool. And I'm going to have to make a big rectangle over that whole canvas. Okay. Now, I want to give it a gradient, but I haven't quite learned where that's at yet. So I'll have to learn that one so I can show you how to do that. I'm not even sure where it's at, and hopefully it'll let us do a gradient. Hopefully that's not something that we can't do because we're not paying for it. But anyway, I want to change that color. So let me go ahead and change that color. Change it to what's going to look good with what I've got. Maybe let's do a lime green. I don't know if it's going to look good or not, but I'm going to try it. Okay, now see how you can't see your shapes anymore, right? So I got to click on it, select it, and then I'm going to come up here, right up here. One is, it says bring element forward, and one is backward. So I'm going to send that to the back. So I'm going to click. I got to keep clicking till it goes all the way to the back. There we go. So now it's behind everything. Okay. So I wanted to show you that. I also want to show you transparency. That's something else I showed you in class today. So let's see. Let me get a, what do I want to do? I'm going to get a triangle. And I'll put that triangle right here. Yeah, I got to move it. I don't like where that's at. And it looks like I got to bring it forward because it looks like it's behind stuff. So make sure I bring it forward. There we go. Now it's forward. I don't want that green color. Let's make it a dark green. So I'll make it a dark green. But now I want to make it to where it's see-through. So this was on your test, on your pretest. The pretest, it said something about transparency is the opposite of opacity. And it is. The answer was true. I'm not sure how many of you guys got that right or wrong. But it's the opposite of, transparency is the opposite of opacity. So if I want that to be transparent, and I come over here to appearance and I don't see the word transparent, but I see opacity. So opacity means that if something is opaque, that means you can't see through it. So I want to make it transparent. So I'm going to come to this slider and I'm going to bring the opacity down, which means the transparency is showing. So you see how that's getting transparent? Oops, I went too far. Yep, I want it right there. And I did click away real quick because it wanted to change on me. So there. So now let's say I want to copy that shape. So I'm going to hold my Alt key. And I want to bring it over here. So it's going to carry that transparency with it too. Now I'm trying to make this radial, which means it's got to be symmetrical. Well, that right there is not symmetrical to that one, is it? So I need to flip it. So I'm going to flip that triangle. So I'm going to come up here to the word modify. I'm going to go down to transform, and I'm going to flip it. I want to flip it horizontally because I want it to flip right across. So horizontally. So see, now it's in the same shape. It's not in the same position. I got to move it. But there, now I've got that. Now, maybe I want to duplicate it. So I'm going to hold that one. I'm going to hold the shift and come over and click that one. And I'm going to go ahead and group them so that they'll stay together. So I'm going to modify and I'm going to group that selection. And now I want to duplicate those. So I'm going to hold that Alt key. See, and I found out if I go to edit copy, it won't let me. So I guess in order to do that, you have to pay for it to do that, but we can do it by the shortcut. So hold that Alt key, click on your shapes, and click and move. Now here again, I've got to flip that. So I'm going to come up to modify, transform, and this time I want to go vertical because I want it to go up and down, transformed. So flip vertical. See, there we go. There we go. So that's the start of a radial design, or a kaleidoscope, you might say. Now, if I want to do some lines, I can do lines too. I don't have to do just shapes. I can click right here and where it shows line. So I'm going to click on line. And maybe I want a line that goes here. And I'm going to drag it to here. Kind of like cut it right in half almost. Right there. Now, this line, I can change the color of that line, or I can leave it black, or I can change the color, just like a shape. But I also want to make it thicker. So to make it thicker, if you see right beside here where it says 1 point, I'm going to click, and I'm going to make it, let's make it 10 point. Hit enter, and see how it goes thicker. And I'm not going to play with those right now. I'll show you that later. But so now I'm going to click on that, and I want another one, another line that's going this way. So I'm going to get back on that line tool, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to make a line going this way. Did it do it? Did I do it? Nope, I didn't do it. Oops, edit, undo. And remember, edit, undo, that's your friend. That's either edit, undo, or right here. This is your undo button too. You can just click on that and it'll undo what you just did. So it thought I was moving this instead of making a line. I want to make a line. So I'm going to click and make a line. And I want it to be just like that one. So here again, I want to make it 10 point. So it looks just like that one. Now the thing is, I want that line to be behind. I don't want it to be in front of those, but it needs to be in front of the green. So I got to make sure when I click on it and I say send to the back, send to the back one more time so it's behind the red. Oops, it's got to be behind the other red one too. See now, I keep doing it. There we go, there we go, there we go. So sometimes you have to keep doing it till it goes behind all your shapes. I'm going to do it to that one too. Behind, because I want it behind all my shapes. There we go. So now it's behind all my shapes. So I have now taught you or went over what we did in class today. So I hope this gets you a start. On Wednesday, I'm going to play around and I'm going to show you some more stuff and I'm going to show you some examples. So that is it for now. So happy playing. Happy playing.